let's bring out one of the stars of the incredible Wonder Woman feature film, the one, the only, Mr. Eugene Raybrock. Come on, keep it going, keep it going. Show them what Texas can do. Yes. Welcome to Texas, sir.
Pleasure to be here.
And we, backstage, I mentioned you're from Alberta. Alberta's kind of the Canadian province sister to Texas. Alberta's kind of the Texas of the North, as it were. You know, you got cowboy boots on. You know, it's a Western place. So hopefully you feel at home. How's Dallas treated you so far?
So far, so good. It's been great. The people are amazing. I think you get a sense of. I mean, my first time in Dallas, and so I haven't had the opportunity to see too much, but I think I've got a good sense of Dallas by just the people, and it's been great.
Well, we've got a microphone in the audience that'll be right over here by the camera that you see set up. So if you got questions for Eugene, head right over there and start lining up. I've got a couple questions to start us off with, get things rolling. We got a lot of people out here, fans of Wonder Woman, fans of your work in Wonder Woman, yeah? What did you grow up a fan of? What were you into? I mean, were you a reader? Were you into TV, movies, music? I mean, what was your fandom? What were you into?
Fandom, wow. You know what? It was, I was a little kid and I seen that. I can't even remember what movie it was, but I seen a Native American on a horse. And I was like, wow, someday I'm going to be that Native American on a horse. It's kind of, you know, being a little kid, it's like saying when I grow up I'm going to have a Lamborghini, right? So I'm just thankful that dreams come true. It's been great.
Well, how did you get into even seeing acting as a profession that you could do? You know, stunt work is something that you could do. Is it something that you wanted to do from early on and started training in? Is it something that you kind of fell into? How did you find your way into the job you're doing?
Stunt work, yeah, I guess I kind of fell into it. It was actually, I started off in theater. I was approached by a casting director of a Canadian television show. They were doing a theatrical play about suicide. It was because of an actor that committed suicide on this television show, so they wanted to promote the signs of suicide and bring some awareness. And she just liked my look, like my long hair, my features.
A few people out there like your look, right?
So that was my first step into acting. It was great. I mean, it was 6 months of pretty much rehearsing every day. You know, I had a big 10-minute monologue at the very end of this play where I go to my girlfriend's grave and I start crying. So that was really, you know, theater's real acting. You know, there's only one take. And you know what, I put it away for a while. Pursued other things, got an education, and I ended up taking a friend, to a casting call. And I thought, well, I might as well line up while I'm here. And they picked me from the back of the line, and they brought me in. I became an extra on a movie called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, where I was, you know, the first day on set, I was approached by a stunt coordinator and asked if I could ride a horse. I said, yeah, I can ride a horse, sure. And he's like, well, there's a chance this horse might fall, there's explosions happening, and are you willing to fall off your horse? And I said, how much, right?
The classic actor's question, how much and where?
Yes. So again, that was stepping stone, and from there I went to Buffalo Bill's Wild West show at Euro Disney, where I was trained to ride, fight, fall, shoot guns. And it was great. I didn't speak French.
Bienvenue. So you learned on the job doing live shows and everything. What part of the combat training, the stunt training, did you enjoy the most? I mean, I would assume falling off of horses is a lot of fun, but
you know what it is.
It really is.
I mean, once you know what you're doing, right? It's once you know what you're doing, it is. It's a rush. It's a natural high.
low. Natural low coming after a natural high.
I mean, you know what, there's only so many times you can fall off a horse, though. I'm starting to feel it, getting older, and feeling those aches and pains in the morning. But, you know, when you're doing it, the adrenaline rush is so, you know, you don't feel it until the next day.
Now, like I said, we got a microphone over here. I don't see anybody lined up yet. You better start lining up, because honestly, you guys ask better questions than I do. And I'm gonna, if you want to talk to him about Wonder Woman, I'm gonna mostly leave that to you. But to get us maybe on that track, I want to ask you about not the title character in the movie, but the lady behind the camera, Patty Jenkins.
Amazing woman.
What was your first impression of Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman?
God, my first impression was, you know, she just showed me so much respect. She asked me questions. My opinions were my thoughts, my ideas, and you know what? She incorporated everything what I said into my character. She helped me develop my character. She gave me that control of bringing my character to life without being a stereotypical Hollywood Indian character. So it was wonderful. People ask me, how did I kick down the doors of Hollywood? And I didn't. She opened those doors for me and gave me that, you know, she just communication and the respect that she had was awesome. Nothing but respect for Patty.
One more, and then we're going to turn it over to you all out there. You kind of had this small band of brothers that you did a lot of your scenes with. Did you get particularly close with any of your castmates? You know, become buddies on set?
Yes, we did, for sure. I mean, we were on set a total of probably around 7 months, off and on, and the camaraderie was great. Saeed, Tagumal, and you and Bremner, we all stayed in the same hotel. So we came really, really close. You know, I was went to dinner and everything. It was great. It was nice to, you know, what was hard was I was having auditions while I was in London while we were filming Wonder Woman, and I had nobody to read with in my audition. So you and Bremner was reading for me, but it just made me so nervous with that level of an actor on the other side of the camera doing these auditions. But they taught me so much. On and off screen about the business, and it was great. It was like going to school, like every day on set, watching you and Brandon and watching Saeed do their work. It was like art, and it was great.
So we got people lined up. It looks like we got a no good pirate right there in the front of the line. What do you got for us, sir? You're pulling out a sword. It's no way to greet somebody. It's downright rude.
Check one there.
Oh,
Hello, Mr. Brave Rock, sir. Thank you so much for coming in to this year's Dallas Comic Con. You guys surprised me so much for being a celebrity of the newest Wonder Woman movie. And this is my question. How is it that you really got to be in the Wonder Woman movie, to be playing as the chief in that movie as well?
That journey started after, I was actually on hiatus from Revenant. I was going to vacation in California and got a call to go to LA to do this audition. I didn't really, you know, I've done 100 auditions. I didn't really know if it was worth it to go 2 days out of my way and maybe $500. But I took that opportunity. I went down, and it wasn't a script from Wonder Woman. I had no idea that it was for Wonder Woman. And being my first time in Hollywood, I froze. I couldn't remember my lines. I lost it. The casting director actually gave me, she's like, go ahead, read it off the script. So I read my lines off the script, and I walked away from it like, oh my God, I should have did this, I should have did that, and you know what, I had to take it for what it was, and you know, that was a trip to LA and a free tour of Warner Brothers, and I brushed it off, right? And 2 months later, I got a call, and they said, do you want to fly to London? Patty Jenkins wants to meet you. She's the director of this film that you auditioned for. I was like, wow, right on, cool, I'm ready to go. And they said, but, okay, one thing, you know, I'm going to say something to you and you can't repeat it. This is for the movie Wonder Woman. You know what, it's still surreal for me. I'm still in awe. So
Thank you for coming out and with us this weekend. 2 questions. First one is, what's been the response from the Native American community to Wonder Woman and your role? And the second is, do you still get to hang out with Gal?
The feedback that I've received from the Native American community has been huge. It's you know, to go into this role and not play a stereotypical Hollywood Indian is, you know, I went home a hero. I was given the biggest gift or acknowledgement one can receive in my community, where I was given a headdress with eagle feathers. That's the biggest thing you can ever get in my community, and I was honored with that. So I'm very thankful to represent my people and to share my language and culture with the world. It's been great. And Gal, I'm sure I'll be seeing her soon down the road.
You know, not betraying any NDAs and whatnot. As a little follow-up to that, you know, representation is very important for a lot of us that, you know, maybe we grew up theater actors, never quite seeing enough of ourselves or, you know, our types of faces on screen. Were there Native American actors that you directly looked up to? I mean, were you somebody who followed anytime Graham Greene was in something, you know?
You know what, every time any Native American is on television, I'm like, wow, is a real Indian on TV, you know? It's not like the John Wayne movies where they're not real Indians. So every movie that came out that with their real name, like Wes Studi, Graham Greene, there's so many. You know what, and I'm so thankful that I've been able to work with a lot of them. Rubbing shoulders with my people that I looked up to. It's great.
Lisa?
Hi, I just loved your character in Wonder Woman, and being that it's set in the 40s and the second film is set in the 80s, do you think that there's a possibility for Chief and the Gang to have their own spin-off movie?
Chief and the Gang. I like that title, Chief and the Gang.
I think that's what it's going to be called. I got my fingers crossed.
Okay.
See what happens.
Thank you. Hi. I was wondering, what was the most difficult scene for you to perform?
A little bit of feedback, just a tiny little bit of feedback.
Sorry.
Toughest scene for you to perform in the movie? Any particularly, I mean, you know, any stunt stuff you had to do?
No, that was all pretty easy.
Just roll out of bed, follow the horse, no big deal.
You know what was tough to do on Wonder Woman was the scene where we're in Trafalgar Square, where we go to Steve Trevor's picture. It was very, you know, for me it was hard to cry. It was hard for me to do that. It was, you know, and like I said from the beginning of when I first started, when I did that 10-minute monologue, I could never cry. I tried so hard, and you know, I had to learn some little tricks of, you know, you put your finger in your mouth like you're thinking, and then you go like this, and you know, but you know what? So I could never really cry, but actually on one of the takes, I did actually drop a tear, and that was hard. It was great. As soon as we were done, the rest of the cast turned around and like, oh my God, Gene, wow, right, good job. So I was like, nailed it.
So, my question's a little bit of a blast from the past. I love Wonder Woman. I typically go to Marvel for all my movies, but my friend took me to Wonder Woman. It was fantastic, and I loved it. Your story was amazing. But my question goes back to when you were on Heartland. I know it was only one episode, and I'm sorry if this is kind of difficult, but I love the show, and your episode that you were in was really awesome. When I saw you in Wonder Woman, I was trying to figure out where I recognized you from and realized that it's Heartland. And what was it like being on Heartland and working with that cast and the nature of the show and the horses and.
It was great. You know what? That's the community where I come from. It's just outside of Calgary, Alberta. And, I can't believe I'm getting recognized for Heartland.
Hey, you're in Texas, man. A lot of people out here love horses and love those kinds of stories.
It was great. I mean, it was. You know what? Actually, I think I just came back from Buffalo Bill's Wild West show when I did that Heartland episode. And so one of the things that stood out for me doing that was when I auditioned, the casting director was like, "Oh my God, Mr. Braverock, you're gonna go far in this industry." And I, you know, I took it as a pat on the back, but you know, I never thought myself to, you know, do what I've done. I'm very thankful. And you know, Heartland is, actually I think that was my first speaking line on television. Great question, thank you.
So, how, like, was it the first time you ever heard your voice on screen?
First time you heard your voice on the screen, how weird was that? Was it surreal? Was it strange?
Okay, going back to Wonder Woman, they call it dailies, right? At the end of every day, they have little snippets from what we did that day, and hearing my voice on, I was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my God, I can't watch this. And it just did, you know, it does something to me. Like, I felt self-conscious about it. So after that, I couldn't watch it or hear my own voice because I didn't want it to do something to my character, right? But the very first time, yeah. So I think it's like that for everybody to hear their own voice recorded back and you hear it. I think it's weird.
Hello.
Hi.
I came in a bit late, so I'm not sure if this question has already been asked.
It's going to be a great question, and I love it.
What was it like working with Patty Jenkins?
Amazing. Nothing but respect for her. She is. I had so much respect for her.
You worked with a few directors now. What makes her stick out? I mean, even, you know, television and film, different worlds. You know, but I mean, you were in very you know, the Wounded Knee movie. What was it personality-wise? So it's like going to camp with a different camp director each time.
Yeah, well, the difference I think with Patty was she really had a lot of respect for her opinions and her ideas, where other directors, other writers, or, you know, if you mentioned, as a director, producer, I think they have that movie already running in their head. They already know what they want. They already see this vision of the movie. And it's their vision, it's their story. And that's what they want to put out there. And a lot of times it's like, it's either their way or the door, right? So with Patty, the communication was just awesome. Great.
Hi. So I actually had two questions for you. My first one is, when upon arriving on set in London, what was the first scene that they had you film? And then my second question is, were there any pranksters on set that would pull jokes while filming the movie?
The first thing we did was we did the black and white photo that was Batman versus Superman. Actually, I didn't even know that was going to be in Batman versus Superman. So 2 months after we took that picture, I flew home from London and I saw Batman versus Superman on the plane. I'm like, oh my God! I love Batman versus Superman! And the last question was...
Who was pulling pranks? Who was, anybody? Everybody pretty well behaved? I mean, if you have a story about Gal Gadot, you know, like dumping buckets of water.
No, it was always fun on set. We always had a good time. I like to play pranks. So we have ADs that kind of watch out for us. And somebody always has to have an eye on you. You know, 2-3 people to an actor if we need something, or they're there to guide us where we need to go, or, you know, tell us when it's time to go on set. And so there's a couple times where I would sneak around and I would hide, but just enough so I could watch them freak out and get on the radio. Where's you doing?
How's it going?
I had a question about your last name. I was just curious, Brave Rock, if there's some kind of story behind that, or if it came from your parents, or if there's kind of significance in your community. I was just curious about that.
It was a name that was my great-great-grandfather's. It's translation. It's a name that was given to him as a warrior. He's a strong warrior. There's more meaning behind it. Something that I usually share in ceremony at a place like this. But it's a warrior name, strength and pride and honor.
Hi. So Wonder Woman ended up far surpassing like any of the box office predictions or anything like that. Was there a moment when you realized that this thing is huge? Like, is there a specific time where you went, whoa, this is going to be gigantic?
You know what, right from the beginning, I knew it was going to be huge. Just the magnitude of being on the set and what we were doing was like, wow, oh my God. You know what was hard was from the time we were done shooting it till the time it was released in the theater was forever. And it was so hard to keep that secret, to not be able to tell anybody, hey, I'm in Wonder Woman. But, you know, the stuff that we were doing was amazing. And to keep that secret was hard to keep it for 2 years. Such a long time.
Hello. I've heard rumors that your character in Wonder Woman is secretly a Native American demigod.
Well, Warner Brothers obviously heard your question.
So, is there any truth to those rumors?
So is there any truth to the fact that you like not breaking contracts and making Warner Brothers money?
So my introduction to Wonder Woman, when I first meet her, in my language I say, "Oki, nistunitaniku napi," which is Napi, which means hello, my name is Napi. And Napi in the Blackfoot community he's our culture hero. He is a demigod. But as to what that means, I'll leave that up to the audience and the fans and the gods. The business gods at Warner Brothers and DC Comics.
Sorry if you've already answered, but what tribe are you from?
I'm Blackfoot. I'm part of the Blackfoot Confederacy. There's several tribes that make that up, and I come from the Blood tribe, which is in southern Alberta.
What were you involved in, like, culturally as a kid?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was raised by my grandmother, so I'm a little more fluent with the culture than most of the people my age. I think that, again, for me, my career, my cultural values are what have brought me to where I'm at today. Having long hair, speaking my language, riding horses, dancing traditionally, singing traditionally. It's really what has brought me around the world.
If I can ask you a follow-up about that, this will get real Canadian real fast. Canadian comic book guy named Jeff Lemire did a comic with Gord Downey from the Tragically Hip about issues impacting your community in Canada. Education, people getting the kinds of rights that they deserve. How can people here that want to know more about, people, Native Americans, First Nation people, whatever moniker you want to go with, how can people become more educated and appreciate, the needs and the issues facing your people?
That's a tough question. I think, again, it has a lot to do with communication. I think a lot of history books are skewed. It's not, you don't hear the real history. And, you know what, I see things changing. I do, definitely. I don't know about here. I just went back to Canada for a film festival, and I was wondering, why are they bringing me here? I'm not even in any of these films. I thought maybe they're honoring me because I come from Calgary, and this is the Calgary International Film Festival. But once I arrived there, I realized that they were putting Native American culture on a platform for for everybody to see these Native American films and introduce some Native American artists. And so you know what, to see that on that, it wasn't a Native American film festival, first of all. So again, to put it on that level, I was like, yes, right on, it's about time. So I'm thankful. I do see things changing, and again, I think it's just educating yourself. And, first of all, one question for you guys: what were the original Native Americans that lived here? Does anybody know?
Oh, in Texas?
Yeah.
Well, how many tribes do you want us to name off?
Comanche. There's Comanche, there's Cherokee. No. There's the Kados, the
Karankawas?
I mean, that's good to know. I think everywhere in America at one point in time, that was Native American land, and I think it's good to know what, who was this land before this. I think education is important.
If you have a reading list, people will come up to your table and ask. Next question, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, thank you again for coming to Dallas. We're really happy to have you. But I was just wondering, you've done acting, you've obviously done stunt work as well. Have you ever thought about trying your hand at maybe writing or directing one day?
Definitely.
Yeah. What sort of project would you want to do?
Wow.
Punk rock musical.
You know what? When I grew up, I heard stories of, again, not being this demigod. You hear stories that teach you what not to do by him doing it. So you see an example, and you see a lesson in every story. And I think going along with that, I'd want to, in the spirit of Napi, to continue educating and sharing my culture. So something on those lines, definitely. It's nice it'd be nice to do a movie where it's from a Native American perspective instead of a non-Native perspective, telling our story. So hopefully a couple of years I'll be producing that.
You know a couple people that finance movies.
Hi, it's my first time here. I'm nervous.
You're gonna do fine. You think you're nervous. I'm up on stage, he's on stage, like we're freaking out.
If you could be in any movie, what movie would you be in?
Dreamcast yourself. And maybe, you have the theater background. Is there something from the theater that you wish somebody to adapt, or maybe adapt again? There are all kinds of classical plays and everything. Is there a version of something?
You know what I think they need to do? They need to do a Dances with Wolves Part 2. I think that was a big movie for, after Dances with Wolves, it was cool to be Indian after that. So it'd be nice to see something. I don't know how that story would change, but
I don't know, it's been 25 years. Remake it, why not?
Hi, so I'm just starting out on acting. I've been doing it for about 3 years or 4 years now. And my question is, do you have any advice for starter actors/actors?
you know what? Get out there and do everything and anything that you can. Skill-wise, even it's nice to learn different skills. For me, it was riding horses and doing some traditional things. I think any kind of skill in the business helps. I have a list of special skills on my resume, and it's even smoking cigarette is a special skill on my resume. But I think take every opportunity you get. That's what I've done. Every opportunity that has come across my way, I've jumped on it. I'm so thankful for the footsteps that I've taken.
Hi.
Hello.
I've got 2 questions, actually. My first question is, when you were on the set of Wonder Woman, Gal's costume obviously very small, not a lot of layers, but the rest of you, whole bunch of layers. Was it really warm? Were you sweating in your costumes?
Yes,
Or was it
I
comfortable?
was. It was, London was pretty cold most of the time. the sun never came out. A lot of vitamin D. But my wardrobe was, I think out of everybody, I had the most layers. And it did get pretty heavy. It did get, yeah, it was tough.
My other question is, what's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is an eagle.
Hello. I'm curious to hear.
I don't know who got us cursed.
I'm curious to hear what your personal experience was working on The Revenant.
My personal, you know what? That was a tough film to make. Oh my goodness, the director was very demanding. It was, I mean that in a good way. He had certain levels of, you know, like again, he had this vision in his mind that he wanted to recreate, and we were in the elements in November and December in Canada in the Rocky Mountains. My brother actually got hypothermia, so physically it was draining. So thankful to be, you know, after all that hard work, to see the end product though was worth it. Definitely.
We still have time for a couple more. If there's anybody who wants to hop up to the mic, I've got a couple of things. Oh, are you getting back up? Oh, do we have a kid that's going to ask a question? I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. You're so short. I can't see you from all the way up here. Could you come up here for a minute? Come up on stage. I'm sorry. I can't see you. I won't be able to hear your question very well. If you mind coming up. Kid questions are the best questions, by the way. If you've never been in a Q&A that I posted, you don't know this yet, but you're about to learn. What's your name, my friend? Come on up. Come on up on stage. Come on up. Come on up. I'm right here to the table. What's your name? Rachel.
Rachel,
Rachel, what's your question? Go for it.
do you have any pets?
Yes, I have 2 dogs. You know what? They're not really like pets. Every morning I get up and I have a 19-month-old son. We go outside and we have a little pond. We have some koi fish in there, and then there's birds outside. I like to say that they're mine, but really just have them. Yes, I love animals. Do you have any pets?
I have 2.
Oh wow, what do you have?
A cat and a snake.
A snake? Oh my goodness. I'm scared of snakes.
Thank you, Rachel. Let's hear it for Rachel, everybody. That's a great last audience question to end on. I've got one more for you. You watch movies. You're a fan of stuff. Is there anybody, as you started doing these conventions, that you found yourself, down the table from, that you're like, oh man, look at who's this, or somebody that you know does these conventions that would kind of, freak you out?
Yes, you know what? I met Gene Simmons a couple of years ago. I was like, wow. I was hanging out with just a pair of jeans. It was really cool. I never thought I'd ever get to meet him or even see him. I ended up at his concert in the front row. That's great.
Well, we've got just a couple little pieces of business. After this Q&A here this afternoon, we've got Austin St. John right here in this room at 4 o'clock. We've got the Cosplay Masquerade contest this evening. You are going to be at your table later today. You're going to be here the rest of the weekend. So please come and see him, say hi, get some things signed and so on. Before we bid him adieu, we would not be able to do any of this without our crew. As a man in the theater, look, nothing happens without the crew, right? This show would not run like clockwork without our crew. We are without one of our valued, delightful members of our crew. You see people like myself working the show, got buttons for a guy named Kirk. We lost him, he passed recently, and we miss him. So not only am I asking you to raise the roof for our crew, but please raise the roof for our dearly departed friend, Mr. Kirk Elliott. Let's hear it for Kirk. Now let's keep going for the Eugene Grade round. Let's make sure he feels welcome. Thank you, sir. If you have a gold pass, you can hang out.